Hi, I'm Joe, and today I'm going to talk about Harper Lee's Go Set a Watchman. This book has been controversial from the start. I am not going to give any spoilers. I'm just going to give my thoughts on the book. This is a book that's kind of hard to talk about because I have so many thoughts about it and it's hard to organize them all, so I'm just going to try to do a very quick synopsis of my thoughts and feelings on this book. First of all, these characters did not seem to be the same characters that were in To Kill a Mockingbird. I did not read To Kill a Mockingbird immediately before reading this, so maybe that distance helped me to think of these characters as just completely different from To Kill a Mockingbird. They were just like two absolutely, completely different books, different characters in my mind. So I don't have all of those outrage feelings that, because people are very upset about Atticus in this book versus Atticus in To Kill a Mockingbird. In this book, Atticus was not fully fleshed out. He wasn't fully developed. This was just like a rough draft. I felt like the story wasn't complete. The character profiles were not complete. So I didn't get all really upset about Atticus's political views in this book versus To Kill a Mockingbird because he seemed just like a completely different character. And this whole book, I felt, read like a rough draft. It just felt very incomplete. It felt like it jumped around a bit too much from present day to flashbacks. It just seems like Jean Louise, the adult, was completely separate from Scout, the child. It almost seemed like it was more going to be like a memoir. Because there's her present day life and then it has a lot of flashbacks to when she was a child and her memories, which is what became To Kill a Mockingbird. I keep pointing at it like it's behind me. So when she presented this book to her editors told her to focus on those flashbacks, and that is where we got To Kill a Mockingbird, from the flashbacks in this story. And I just felt like this was just incomplete, and I felt like I was reading someone's rough draft, like their personal little story they were writing, and I just kind of felt gross because writers have their notebooks and writers are protective of their notebooks, and I just feel that publishing a writer's notebook is sort of a betrayal of confidence, particularly when the writer is not aware or does not have full editing rights or is not able to fully edit and present their notebook the way that they want to present their notebook. Knowing what we know about the publishing of this book, I didn't like that. I was not comfortable with it. I was even on the fence about whether I was going to read this book or not, but it is the book club pick for my book club this month, and I actually still have not finished the very last part because I just felt kind of gross, like I was intruding on her personal thoughts or her rough draft. There are parts where you're like, why, how did we get from this paragraph to this paragraph? Like she was going to go back and expand on that scene or that thought and those feelings. It was just very odd. It's like a bare bones rough draft with some of the major ideas where she was going to go back and flesh it all out. There's actually a bookseller that has been giving people back their money on this book because it was not exactly presented and advertised the way that the book actually is. It is not a sequel to Kill a Mockingbird. I don't know what to say about it. If you're curious about reading it, I am not going to say you shouldn't, but you need to think of this book as a rough draft, and you cannot think of the characters in To Kill a Mockingbird as the exact same characters here. And it's a very short book. It definitely feels like it was going to be a much longer coming-of-age story. I would love to know what you thought about this. I know that it's just controversial from the start. There are a lot of people that have a lot of feels about this book. So I would love to talk about it down below, and I will talk to you later. Bye.